So what's going on, everybody? In today's video, I'll show you my BATTLEMAGE Kitava. We are sending out the lightning skills and fire skills. As you can see on the screen, I combined Mjolnir and fire spell on a hit on this Ascendancy, and it is absolutely insane. It blasts everything, maps, bosses, you name it. There is a T3 hardest difficulty Xesht, and here I will show tier 16 map, or the best one, Step. That one is my favorite. Let me just fast forward a little bit. So we use Leap for map clearing. With that, we proc Trample Toe Boots, the Overkill Explosion, if you will. We also have Arc that chains off screen, literally clears off screen. And our defense here is stacking armor, as well as using Blasphemy with Temporal Chains to make enemies slow. It's like 50% slow. It's really crazy how that helps when it comes to defensive, or like surviving. For bosses, you can swap this curse, but more about it later. And I believe Xesht is bugged where the lowering resistances doesn't really work on him, but yeah. So we have Leap here. That's all you do, basically leap around, and the spells are proc automatically. The only thing is on bosses, the fire spell on hit, it does require mana for you to use the spells, which is not the case for Mjolnir. Mjolnir's spells slotted in there are free, but not the Ascendancy for Kitava. So we have mana remnants on mapping. So we have non-stop mana. It overflows mana as well. Sometimes you just use a mana flask, that's it. For bosses, you just have to spam mana flask. But as you can see, yeah, this is Breach. Now you will see Map Boss in a second. There is one disadvantage for this build. It might be too much for the PC, because I believe the boss fight in a second might be a little bit choppy, because I've seen some error in my OBS while recording it, because there are just too many particles. There's too many spells on the screen. And in fire spell on hit, we are proccing Fireball and Firebomb. These two are almost like the equivalent of Ball Lightning and Lightning Warp for the lightning spells in Mjolnir, because Lightning Bomb creates infusions buff Fireball, and it also buffs Lightning Warp, because you can infuse the warp with fire, and then they explode. And that's actually pretty good damage, not gonna lie. So with this build, we are trying to focus on attack speed, because on single target, the faster you are with Mace Strike, that's what we use for single target, by the way, since we cannot really spend too much mana with other skills other than the fire spells. I'm using Mace Strike. Mace Strike procs slotted spells in your Mjolnir and fire spell and hit so often, it's insane. So we're using Mace Strike because it's free. It does quite a lot of damage as well. Here's the Map Boss. We just dropped the Sigil of Power. Pretty juice boss as well. No drop frames though, that's pretty good. That's a good sign. I thought it would lag, but it didn't. So spell damage, we're trying to get Mana Tempest, Sigil of Power from the Weapon Tattoo, from the staff. Again, I'll show you in a second. I am missing some spell ranks for that skill, so I could get even more spell damage. For the AoE, we don't even need any Herald. Straight up, just Arc clears everything. Fireball does some damage as well. So I have a pretty good Megalomaniac. Most of the gear you will see me using is what I used on my two other builds, which are in the right upper corner. I ran the Bone Cheddar, Titan, and Ritualist. Those are my first Mjolnir builds. And then I ran the Instant Earthquake, which was my last video, my last build on Titan. And most of the gear, almost all of the gear actually, was used on those characters. So I am currently sitting on over 700 divines. I could get some upgrades, but I don't want to, showcase like extra hundreds of divines builds, because that's just not reachable for most people. Although I gotta say, this is not a beginner friendly build. It does require some gear. It's not the cheapest one. I would say around 100, 150 divines. It really depends, man. Really depends. You can snipe some of the items for quite cheap, so it really depends. And also the accessibility on Megalomaniac with specific passives is kind of dependent as well. But yeah, we are using Headhunter on the map. For the boss, I did unequip Headhunter without any modifiers. So it was just a plain Headhunter as a belt, as stats. No extra modifiers from Mares. So we also apply a lot of shock, of course, but also fire. The great stuff is you can scale this build so much, because you can get fire damage percentage and lightning damage percentage on both breach rings, and those two apply to your global damage. So spells, melee attacks, anything, if you have flat fire or flat lightning. So this was for the little showcase. I'm gonna take you into the game, and we're gonna talk about some of the few good things. So let's talk about the skills the fire spell on hit. So right here, that's Kitava. They are literally identical with Mjolnir, this right here. But this one says supported skills cost nothing. Sadly, it doesn't say here. So we are also trying to get some quality from the skill tree. I can also get some quality gems in my body armor. So that would mean we get more energy. But honestly, we are generating too much energy, I would say. Because I believe someone even tested it in one of my videos. If you have too many projectiles from these spells, whatever, they just don't count. They just like overcap, whatever. So we might be generating too much energy. So fire spawn hit, we go fireball. Level 19, you could see my mana is getting drained like crazy on bosses. That's why I keep spamming flasks. And that's about fine. Shout out to my boy Wizard from YouTube, who helped me figure out more about the spell side because I'm not too familiar with mages. So he said level 3 Living Bomb is just enough for the Fire Infusion Remnants creation, as you can see at the end of the text, golden text. And for Fireball, he said the best like ratio with mana and damage is level 16 Fireball. I'm running level 19, so I could probably lower that a little bit. As you can see, this one consumes a Fire Infusion if possible to launch a ring of smaller fireballs. Which probably we are eating the fire infusions from with ball lightning, but I'm not sure. It's a lot of chaos on the screen during boss fights, so it's the one thing also that's kind of sucks with this build. Not sucks, but the visual clarity. But it also goes for most builds in this league, right? Visual clarity this league is just not it, man. So with this, we go with projectile acceleration for the damage increase and speed, whatever, just mainly the damage. Sion's Temper, extra projectiles, aka Valchar. This is very good. Also, boundless energy for energy gain. Probably not needed in any of these because we are triggering this like crazy. But it helps against rares because uniques have more power and it's based on power and elemental threshold. Mace Strike, this is our boss killer, so we're trying to stack this up with attack speed so we get the rapid attacks. We got the Brickbolt's Ferocity, and we use it on weapon set 1 for the multiplicative attack speed. We go Rage here for more attack speed before we are capped out. We go with Ancestral Call with the boost here, which is more damage, and AoE doesn't matter, but the damage is pretty good. You can probably go with the Rage Forged. Rage Forged, do I have it here? It means this right here, you can apply it to Mace Strike. This means combined with Rage, it's a good little technique I've been using since the league started on my warrior builds. With these two, you will always have the attack speed benefit from this support gem, and then damage here as well, the 35%. So you can slide it in here. Close combat, another extra damage, because the more damage you have, the more spells you will proc. Now onto the Mjolnir Thunder God's Wrath, we go with one is slotted with Ball Lightning and Lightning War. This goes well together because you will teleport on top of Ball Lightning, and this also does pretty good damage, like very good damage. We go with Uthred's Omen for the +3 to skills. If this is too expensive for you, don't worry about it. You can just slot in Lightning Penetration or just Lightning Mastery for +1. Multi-shot for more proj on the Ball Lightning. Boundless Energy again, more energy. This goes for the second one. We go with Double Arc on this one. Try to get level 20 and +1 Corrupted because spells scale the best with plus ranks. So both of the same arcs. You don't need support. You don't need skill. What's it called? Gems, support gems, sockets in here. Rakiato Flow to ignore the elemental resistance. This literally over doubles the damage of arc. Literally over double damage. It's crazy. And since this hits the hardest from all skills, I put the Rakiato Flow in here. You can also go with Fire Penetration on here instead of Proj Acceleration. I'm still not too sure what to slot in here to have perfect balance. You could probably also ignore Fireball and just go with Living Bomb. With highest level, I might try it out. But so far from mapping as well, without needing to, unslot for bosses and stuff like that, change it. Because I don't really like that. I just kept with this, stuck with this. Now, Sigil of Power, weapon set 2. This will basically give you spell damage the more mana you spend. And this is Chimming Staff. I recommend level 20 because that has 5 support gems. But it also has the highest level, which means more spell damage. You also definitely want to get plus skills here, which is easy through a essence. Great, perfect essence of, I believe, battle. Forgive me if I'm wrong. This scales well again with Sigil of Power, and for sockets runes here, you want +1 spells, but that's pretty expensive. I don't have that. Leap Slam, our mapping ability, Fist of War to be boosted and more AoE. This is pretty important as well. Attack damage, close combat right here. Attack speed, rapid attacks, and again attack speed rage. with Rage Forge, as I explained, great combination of these two. You'll always benefit of both support gems. Now, two skills that I don't really use, not needed at all. You can just totally ignore it, and you can slot something else. But Forge Hammer is pretty good when you are in doing Strongbox or Ritual, or I don't know, something where you are stationary. You can just, and when you sleep, use Forge Hammer like this, detonate with Warcry, and you can just leap on top of that to proc fissures, right? Some extra AoE, extra damage, great for really like, you know, Strongbox and Rituals. But this is not needed. But we go with Defy. This one allows us to use this skill with 0 mana, thanks to our Constricting Command. We go with the Fire Penetration. I also have a video with Constricting Command in the right upper corner if you guys want to take a look. This will ignore Fire Res. I don't know why only Fire Res. You can totally ignore Fire Res, but not Cold or Lightning, I believe. Those don't have level 2, only Fire. Close Combat, again, for multiplicative damage. Keep in mind, attack damage applies to Lightning, Fire, Cold, and Physical, not only Physical. We go with Ul Nettle Embrace to break armor. You don't really need this. This is not that needed, actually. But if you start leaping over fissures, you will start breaking armor. Although Leap cannot break armor itself because it has a payoff tag right here, similar to Sunder. They cannot break armor itself. But if you leap on top of fissures with a break armor, you can do that. Fist of War, this will be Ancestral boosted every 14 seconds, the big one. That will double the effect of Ancestral boost because we don't use this as often. Second skill, Ancestral Cry. You need to ignite to get glory. To proc this one, if you proc this, it's insane because melee strikes and slams are boosted. Melee strikes trigger Volcanic Eruption and you have Volcanic Steps, so which are aftershocks, which will trigger the fissures from Forge Hammer. So this can be pretty crazy in like a lot of like mob density like Breach, or if you're playing Delhi, then this procs quite often, I would say. But this is not needed whatsoever. You can totally ignore this. But if you don't want to use that, we have Fire Exposure, Close Combat for, again, multi, Elemental Armament. You can probably go with Fire Attunement instead of Exposure. We get Prolonged Duration and Life Tap. That's because if I run out of mana, then I probably don't need this. You can probably get something else here. Now, Warcry to trigger the Forge Hammer, but again, like these three skills are not needed, but here we go with Tireless, not needed. Raging Cry for Rage Generation is pretty good. Cooldown Recovery, less cost, and then Enrage Warcry to spend Rage to bypass the cooldown, pretty good. Mana Tempest I don't use actually, this is not needed. What this does is basically it buffs your damage, but it drains your mana faster, so it's pretty good for the initial hit on bosses, but this is just nuking your mana too fast, so this is not what we want. Now for auras, Mana Remnants, definitely good. If you kill a target, you spawn Mana Remnant, which gives you mana, and it can overflow, which means it goes over the mana cap. So that's why you could see me always capped with mana, despite using Leap. Some good stuff. Speaking of Leap, I don't even have Defy support gem in here. That's awesome. So, Harmonic Remnants to be collected from further away. You don't have to hug the remnants to collect them. Very good support gem. And then we get Remnant Potency to be more effective, giving you more mana by 40%, which is pretty crazy. Other aura, Time of Need to heal of over 700, and also to dispel the curse and elemental ailment. This is very good. It procs every 6.5 seconds. You can basically ignore temporal chains and enfeeble, maps with no problem. We want to go with the compressed duration, so less of skill effect. Clarity for mana regen. This depends on your own spirit. What do you have? I have a headpiece with 27 spirit. If you don't have this headpiece with spirit, you can just ignore clarity. But you would have to get it on chest piece. I have a chest piece spirit as well. But you know what? If you don't have enough spirit on headpiece or even chest piece, you could probably ignore either Time of Need or the Presence. You could probably ignore Presence. Speaking of this will reduce the elemental ailment threshold, which is what we need for procs on these three skills or auras, whatever. Because this does scale with the elemental ailment threshold of the enemy. The hit will deal right here and per power. Uthred's Exodus to get +3 to the Presence. It does increase quite a bit by 2%. Might not seem like much, but it actually does help quite a lot. And Blasphemy is our defense. Now, we want to use any of the curses you want. So for mapping, I like Temporal Chains right here because it's slowing enemies by 50%, which is pretty crazy. For bosses, you can go either enfeeble, so you are less likely to get one-shot by slams. Bosses are crazy since the last patch. Or you could run elemental weakness to lower the resistances, since we have lightning and fire. So it's up to you. But these are the same. We got magnified area for more AoE. We got some more AoE in here, ritualistic curse. We got heightened curse for more effect of the curses. Again, if you don't have enough spirit, you can just trap this one. You can see this one eats like, what, 20 spirit, which is quite a lot, 21 for my setup. And slow potency, this does help the temporal chains by 15% more magnitude. Very good. So great one actually. This combo is just absolute peak. I want to use this on every single melee build I do, because the defense that this provides, it's crazy in the maps. That was it. Now for the skill tree Ascendancy. Kitava is pretty boring when it comes to Ascendancy. I hope they will rework this. I am not using the... Am I actually missing Ascendancy points? No, I'm not. This is free. So I'm not using the normal body armor. I'm using rare ones. So these points are not interesting for me. I'm not interested in these. Although they can be pretty strong, like strength increase, max life increase, stuff like that, regen, whatever. But what we want here is Cold Stoker. Modifiers to fire res also grant to cold and fire, cold and lightning. So it's very easy to get resistance with Kitava. Now Fortune Flame, not needed. I have one source of max fire res on the jewel. So this only 1% fire res, max res, I mean, it's what? Next up, we got Fire Spell and Hate. This is what we want. This is how we trigger the fire spells. Great combination, great synergy for all of these. And last 2 points, I went with melee damage and strength. These are still pretty good. We still utilize both, so at least something. Now, for the skill tree, we want to look for as much armor as we can. So this will enable us immune to stun pretty much. Defend with armor against crits, important as well. Some extra points here since we path around is some extra AoE and damage. Goes well for, you know, anything, really, everything. So this is good for leap, for mapping. More armor here, body armor. I tried to focus on this bad boy together with the Heart of the Well here with extra armor from body armor. And this is the max virus I was talking about. Strength stuff for life. Right here we get extra armor. Up top, what I use is also Undying Hate of Amanamu. Again, I used it on my previous 2 builds. This will give you essentially 20% damage reduction because 20% of life loss is prevented. You can battle this with health regen or just simple flask, no problem at all. Which I need to upgrade. Mine is actually pretty bad. Down here, we want to go for all the passives in here because we are using Against the Darkness with extra lightning damage. You can also go with extra fire damage. This really depends on what do you want to do, what do you have access to. You can even go extra chaos damage because I have extra chaos on this bad boy. And I have extra chaos on this top as well. So you can go anything you want. Really. What's cheapest for you? If you don't have this one, you can go with Timeless Sapphire. That gives you spell damage and energy gain percentage. I used it before as well. That's pretty good too. But again, we have all these passives are so good. So extra rage, which is damage increase. We are even more stunt result in here. And more rage source. Extra armor and elemental. Here we got the surrounded passives with the headpiece, so extra damage, extra roll dodge, movement speed, and here elemental and stun threshold, which is pretty good. 40% is very good. So we're literally immune to stuns. And the element is pretty good too. All these passives are good as well, you know, got attack damage, armor stuff. So right now I'm at 22,000 armor. Right here we are ignoring some fire penetration, 15% on the 2 points investment, good stuff. More armor, iron reflexes with these passives and leather-bound gauntlets, which is pretty good if you have some decent armor on the gloves, which I don't really have. Extra stats here, this is probably not needed, but I am not running Astra Mantis, so we need to meet the requirements on the Mjolnir, so that's pretty good. Check of all traits is a very good passive if you stack some attributes. This gives quite a lot of damage, like a lot. Attack speed stuff and blind, which is a good debuff. Less accuracy on monsters and evasion, so you need less accuracy. Some more stuff while surrounded. And right here we go with quality, Cunning Fox, great stuff, attributes. And this bad boy, a lot of attack speed all around and stats as well. Versatile arms, as very good. For the jewels, we are running From Nothing, Chaos Inoculation up top. Because these have This one has invocated efficiency. This is very important for, well, for the whole build, since we are focused on spells. We got spell damage double in here. Extra energy, you don't need that if you don't have enough level. Extra damage here, again, you don't need that if you don't have enough level. And extra damage again, like this is such a great path, such a great cluster here. I believe this jewel is also super cheap. Another jewel, again, Heart of the Well, extra damage, body armor, rage on melee hit. You are looking for double extra damage, but I don't have that. Next up, Against the Darkness, extra lightning or fire damage. Whatever you have access to, you can go extra intelligence, dex on strength, and then you will just, you know, compensate with these small gems, with these small passives. Now, Megalomaniac, what you're looking for is dynamism. This one is the most important. More damage and also more energy gain. This is amazing. I was lucky and found with Spellblade, which is spell damage while wielding a melee weapon. This is the best for battle mage setup like this. But this was probably hard to get from what I heard before, so I was super lucky. I saw it for like 70 mines. But second passive here, it does not matter. Second passive, I recommend getting something that you path towards and you could save points. So let's say you could probably go with Battle Trance, and that you will save a lot of points here because you don't really need Ignore Pain, to be honest here. So you could save a lot of passive points if you go with Battle Trance. You could go with Tactical Retreat. You can go with Favorable Odds. Anything really. You can go with this bad boy. You can go with Cunning Fox with the best because you could save 4 points here as well. So it really is up to you what you can access. Devastation, also another good one. And the last jewel, as I showed, is Undying Hate Amanamu to be tankier. Rotation, pretty simple. You just drop Sigil of Power and then you start smacking around and destroying the whole screen. For mapping, it's just literally leaping around like this. That's it. That's it. If there is a one rare one monster, you just finish them off Mace Strike. Deletes everything, man. This is such a great build, man. It's so good. Now onto the gear. You will see me pretty stacked Mjolnir, level 20, Thunder God's Wrath. This is what gives us 5 support gems. You don't need this. If you have only 4, you straight up just drop Uthred's Omen or Multi-Shot, whatever you are comfortable with, but you don't need that. Or even Boundless Energy. You need to test it out with your own setup, but you don't need level 20. Level 18 is just enough. And you're looking for, obviously, maxed out lightning skills, because our damage skills from that, attack speed, and then physical damage. Ideally, 2 sockets, but I don't have the balls to wild this bad boy. Second, Mjolnir, double socket again. This one is with skill speed. This one is with extra chaos. Again, extra chaos, great stuff. You can socket with whatever you want, like skill speed if you want more attack speed. But the more damage you do, the more spells you will proc, so... And, of course, with Leap as well. You are also trying to stack some damage for Leap, because that way you have easier time triggering these boots, the Overkill, the Explosion. Chest piece, I crafted this one. Again, hits against you have reduced crit damage bonus, is so good. So Armor, Spirit, Resistance, and then, well, whatever you have access to, honestly. Headhunter Belt, Amulet, you're looking for defense, looking for spell skills and spell damage. These 3 are the most important. And then intelligence. The quality is also good because this gives you basically more spirit because of the efficiency here. And it goes well with the passive on the skill tree. So this is a great amulet. And the quality should have pretty high roll. There is one omen you're supposed to use with it. I think it was called Ula something. Ula Urgal, I forget the name for it. Oh boy, something like that. I have roll it on the 3rd roll. Headpiece, Constricting Command. You can get double socket, ideally Spirit. If you don't have gold or divines for it, you can just use double Spirit. On the glove here, these are pretty cracked. Attack speed, melee skills is what you want as a suffix. Increased socketed effects items. I mean, this is very good too, but these are pretty expensive. You can also run Hand of the Wisdom from Xesht if you want to. Flat lightning damage, attack speed, also pretty good. But yeah, prefix, flat damage, armor, life, whatever you want. This is overkill, by the way. You don't need these gloves. I mean, you saw it on the footage, right? It is overkill. Now, on the rings, as a prefix, we want these 3. So fire and lightning percentage damage, and then adds to fire damage. This will give, ignite, but again, this will buff. This will be buffed from the fire damage as well. So this is good stuff. For suffixes, you want to get attributes, resistances, whatever you want. Same with here. I got triple res and then again double here. And that would be it for the gear. Some what I recommend for potion mana, since we always trigger this while we are on low mana, I recommend this bad boy and increase charges. And for life flask, I need to get better one. This one is tier 3 and 2, so I need higher rolls, but this is pretty good setup. Onslaught is a good charm. This gives you extra skill speed and movement speed. Triggers pretty often because all maps have slow. Freeze immune and then chaos res because I am not capped out. But POB shows about, what's my EHP? I believe like 15,000, something like that. It's pretty good. And I believe that was it, G's and gents. We covered about everything. Let me see if I missed something. I think not. If I miss something, I'll put it in the description. But with that said, G's, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I appreciate you all. I stream also every day on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and TikTok. We're everywhere. Poor PC, getting blasted. But yeah, if you guys would like to stop by, I would greatly appreciate it. But with that said, thank you very much once again. You guys have a great one. Until next time, and peace.